What's up, guys? You ready for the next chapter in the continuing saga of what the hell to play against 1d4? Yeah, I know. It's something that a lot of us face. We actually had a discussion about it yesterday in our Chess Bootcamp Live group session. And one of our esteemed members, who shall remain nameless, revealed or confessed that his current strategy with the black pieces facing 1d4 is to hit the abort button and start again. I think I've got an over the board game tonight. I might have to try that. If I get black and my opponent plays 1d4, I'll just move it back and say, nah, you're not doing that anyway. So during the session, I was just having a little of a fool around, looking at my Indian openings study, and I came across a line, and I'm going to share it with you because it's very exciting, and it's very exciting if you play the Russo Gambit and if you play the Lucchini. And it throws your opponent off the scent pretty quickly if they are a 1d4 player. It's not common, but it works. So it kind of seems to tick all the boxes. Now, I haven't had a chance to play this in the wild, just like the bloody Sweeney Todd. The Sweeney Todd thing against the London, no one's gone for it since I made that video as well, so that's annoying. Anyway, we're not even going to start by showing you what I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you something else before I show you what I'm going to show you, if that makes sense. So let's do a little recap on the Lucchini and the main Lucchini attack, like the blue sky, everything goes swimmingly Lucchini attack. So you've got the black pieces. You get into an Italian. There's two ways to play this. I mean, if you play the Russo and then d3, you can play your bishop out here. This is the gioco piano, okay? And this is the gioco pianissimo. It means, it's Italian for a very quiet game. Gioco piano means a quiet game. Gioco pianissimo, issimo means very or most in it. So, this is the starting position, the gioco pianissimo for the Lucchini Gambit, and the Lucchini Gambit would continue with f5 now. You can, like I say, do it the other way around. And what you're kind of hoping for is that white gets the smell of liver in his nose and goes, I'm gonna throw my knight into f7, and I don't see how black can stop me doing that. And black goes, I'm not even going to try. And the most common move here by a long chalk is knight f7, forking the queen and winning a complete full rook, at least for the time being. And black just ignores it, right? You play your queen out to h4. Castles is the most common move here, 58% of the time. And by the way, I've got this set to 1800 plus. Remember that, because it's going to come in, right? Castles, most common move. Knight f6. Point about knight f6 is that if you go knight h6, they can potentially take you and just kind of defuse some stuff. They probably wouldn't, but this is the safer way to get your knight to g4. They grab the rook, most common move, 83% of the time, and they're thinking this is going to be easy now, I'm up a full rook. And now you dive in with your knight to g4, and everything is looking at this. So let's look at the most common responses right from here. There, you take with a knight, hitting the queen, okay? Let's say rook takes, you've got queen takes. What you're going to do now is you're going to move your d-pawn, you're going to capture here or push this pawn, and it's 90. This position has been reached 417 times at 1800 up. So you're talking strong intermediate into expert on Lichess, 94% win rate for black, okay? Now, so we're happy about that, you like that, but this is not about the Lucchini. This is about the Black Knights Tango, aka the Mexican defense. We'll call it the Black Knights Tango because that's the most common name. Now, what I'm going to show you now, right, and you're not going to believe this, is all the most common moves from white at the 1800 to 2500 rating, okay? So, the Lucchini's great, but it's an e4 opening, right? But watch. d4, knight f6, all perfectly normal. Knight f6 is the second most common move here. d5 is the most common, but then you can get into all kinds of Queen's Gambit kind of lines. You could get Londons, you could get all kinds of stuff, right? At least with knight f6, you kind of take a little bit more of control over the way it's going to go. c4, 50% of the time, right? Okay. And now for our feature presentation. Okay, most common moves from black. e6 is the East Indian defense, preparing a Bogo Indian or a Nimzo Indian. Next is g6, so you're going like King's Indian style, so you're going to fianchetto your bishop or Grunfeld kind of thing. You've got e5 is common, you've got c5 is common. So that's kind of Benoni, isn't it? You've got d5. People play that. People play d6. People play c6. There's all these pawn moves. b6 is played. And then right down here, knight c6, 1% of the time. We have seen 32,000 games, but knight c6, 1% of the time. And this is known as the it's named after some Mexican master who played it a couple of generations ago. But it's also called the Black Knight's Tango because you get both your knights out. And very often what you're trying to do is you're trying to tease white to kick your knights around. And they're going to dance around the board like in a tango. Yeah? So, most common moves here. Now, the next move, knight c3, is most commonly played almost half the time at the high level. The highest level we're looking at. Knight c3, almost half the time. Knight f3, by the way, is much stronger in terms of real world results. But there is a d4, c4 player. By the way, you can also play this against the English. If you want to do it here, knight here, and very often they'll push d4 as well. So if you're looking for something against the English, there you go. Right. Anyway, knight out here. And now it's the move e5. You're contesting the centre. You're attacking this pawn twice, it's defended only once. And the most common move, 79%, they will push on. Okay, now you're rubbing your hands. The engine thinks that white's got a slight edge, but you don't mind. You play your knight back here. Kind of Petrov style, yeah? Most common move from white, pawn to e4. Grabbing this big old centre with a big old wedge in the centre. You're not even bothered, knight g6. And this looks like white's going, this guy's a numpty. He's moved his knight 3 times in 5 moves. He's got no development. He's given me all the space in the world. I'm just going to roll over this kid, you know? Like he's an ice cream cone and I'm a steamroller. Most common move, bishop d3. And now, bishop c5. And again, it's like very quiet. The calm before the storm. Most common move, knight g to e2. Blunder. Right? Knight g4 now. What does white do? 84% of the time. And we're not talking patzers, right? We're talking 1800 plus on Lichess. Castles. Uh-oh. And then what do we do now? That's right, queen h4. And lo and behold, look where we are. Bishop looking down at this, pinning this pawn. Knight's attacking it, queen's attacking it. Right? What will they do from this point? They'll push h3 to prevent getting checkmated on there. They've got to, it's 96% of the time, they've got to push h3. We take here. They have to take with a rook. You take with a queen, etc., etc. Stop me if you've seen this before. It's our old friend, the Demon Lucchini attack. And we haven't even given up a rook to do it. Right? Huh? You inspired? Now there are some other lines. Obviously, there are other things. You know, white is not obligated to do this. After this, push okay, they could come out and pin. This is all right. Again, you bring out your bishop, so it's very easy opening to play. Yeah, and it's also very unbalanced as well, isn't it? So if you're going for a win with the black pieces, black knights. Okay, they bring out their knight, you kick the bishop, tradey. And after this, black is winning 70% of the games, right? It's been played 63 times, black's won 70% in every line from here. Black is perfectly good. This is just a really normal, nice little setup that we've got. Okay, I'll show you a couple more things. Okay, now knight f3. This is the more challenging way to go, and you can see on the numbers that white does very well with 56% against 38 from this point. So I've got a suggestion. So now we go back to like the East Indian style. They bring out their knight, and now we've actually transposed, although we started in the Mexican black knights, we've transposed into a Nimzo Indian line where we've played like a Nimzo and they've brought their knight out. This is the most common move, not the most accurate. And here I'm saying just d6 and queen e7. If you can remember this, queen e7, black is now winning 56%. This position's only been reached 27 times. So this is all good. They'll do this, you push in the center, they take, we take. 7 games from this point, black's won 5 of them, 1 draw. So that's pretty cool. And by the way, I'll come back to that in a minute actually. And then there's this kind of D5 move as well, which is actually quite common, and you'll probably see this more at lower levels as well. But again, you just swing your knight round and just play very natural moves, and you should be absolutely fine. So let me just go back, because you might be sitting there wondering, okay, this looks like it's good at the higher levels, right? But what about at my level? So I'm going to set it now to 1,000, 1,200, 1,400 on Lichess. So 1,000 is like 6. So we're talking like the breakthrough level, beginner to breakthrough level, okay? Now, white does really, really well, it seems, from this position, okay, at, let's call it beginner level. 59% win rate against 37, that doesn't look too healthy. But again, we'll go most common moves, knight c3, okay? We push e5 again. It's 63% for white, but bear with me. They come in and hit your knight. Now, this is what most of the beginner players do. Knight d4, pushing your knight forward into the board. Not smart, 62% for white. Knight b4, 66% for white. Not too clever, right? Knight e7, however, and we're more balanced. Now it's 54, 42, right? What will they play? They'll play e4, like at the higher level, right? And now, check this out. A lot of beginners play d6. You don't want to do that. Put your knight there. Exactly the same moves. So here's the point. It's not that it's a bad opening at lower level. It's that people play it wrong at lower level. So if you remember these very simple sequence of moves, from here now, it's 51 in black's favour against 46. What will they do? Same again. Well, knight f3 actually is the most common here. Knight f3 at beginner level, and you can play bishop here to pin the knight. You can play bishop here, bishop c5. They're all good. d6 is even good, and you'll have to put your bishop on here. So here's the point. We have an opening that is not only effective if you know what you're doing at the beginner to breakthrough to lower intermediate, upper intermediate level, it works at the expert level too. So I'm inspired by this. I'm liking this idea. And I think we should run with this, don't you? Now, of course, like we say, if they play the English, you can do it as well. There's lots of other things that can happen. You might get a London system. You're going to get a lot of London systems. But we've got a tool against that as well. So, yeah, I think this is good. So, does anyone out there play the Mexican / Black Knights Tango? Let me know. And if I get a game in it, I'll try and record it and see what happens. So, that's it. Just thought I'd give you guys an early heads up about the direction that the old repertoire might be going against the pesky 1d4. Thank you for watching. See you soon.